Hello, Whatnuts, Humpty Dump Nuts, and in the first round, the Buffalo Bills punt nuts. It's Friday, April 26th in the United States. I'm DJ Bean, that's Pete Blackburn, that's Sean DePaz, and this is What Chaos. Hello, boys.
Hello,
That
David.
was wildly uncalled for.
Why? No, famously, the uncalled were players from the Buffalo Bills last night. They were not called.
Plenty of other GMs were called.
Kirk Cousins was called.
You can't say uncalled for when you were like distraught last night.
Yeah, exactly, which is why it's uncalled for. You
No,
need to
it's
make me relive
perfectly
that.
called for.
If I was on Twitter complaining, and I'm only bringing this up because this was a popular topic of conversation, if I was on Twitter lamenting over my dog dying last night and DJ came in here, which he totally would do apparently, being like, ha ha ha, your dog's dead.
No, I wouldn't.
He didn't. He didn't say.
I was conducting an interview.
True, that is fair.
If you ever fucking heard of it. And I asked it's going to be a tough technical term for these boys, but I asked a follow-up question. My subject said, my dog died. I asked, how?
Fair. Not
Twice.
all of us could be as good journalists as you are.
Twice.
Yeah.
It's not good behavior. It's the second time.
Well, if the subject isn't giving you much, we were having a tough week with guests that week. The subject isn't giving you much.
That's true.
Sometimes you got to maneuver to get it out of them. I don't hate it, Sean.
Sean Distraught said the chat.
Sean
That's
Distraught
awesome.
is good.
Nice.
That is me anytime Buffalo sports come up.
I'll tell you what, I don't hate it. So we're talking about the Buffalo Bills trading out of the first round. They moved down twice, the first of which was to facilitate a big move for the Kansas City Chiefs to get the thing they badly needed, a fast wide receiver. It happened to be a guy that Pete and I loved, Xavier Worthy from Texas. I'll tell you this, if it makes you feel any better, I don't know how good Xavier Worthy is going to be in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean,
Got
I
bad
was
hands.
I was very distraught at the beginning, but
Yes, he does. He's a fucking drop machine.
Yeah, I mean, it apparently doesn't matter whether or not you have hands, because if you go to Kansas City, they get chopped off because none of the receivers can catch, like you pointed out last night, DJ. Yeah, I mean, I just don't like the idea of them helping the Kansas City Chiefs. But
we both seem to all be on the same page that Adonai Mitchell is going to be better than Xavier Worthy.
That was kind of my thing originally. That's why I was so distraught. And if you paid attention to my Twitter, I reeled it back in eventually. But I was at first I was like, they just handed, like, we need the same things, the Bills and the Chiefs, and they just handed Adonai Mitchell to the Chiefs. But then they didn't. And they didn't hand it to any of the other teams because they traded back again. So it's working out so far. We'll see what they do in day 2.
Pete, how do you feel about the Patriots drafting Drake May? Because I said yesterday, he seems kind of fun and goofy. The more I watch him, I don't know how much fun I'm getting out of that.
Really?
I like him.
I don't know him as a player. I went into last night with the mentality of anybody but JJ McCarthy. And so by that mindset, last night was a success. I'm here for the Drake May era.
Yeah, they need to draft as many fat kids as they can now.
I am also very much here for the Drake May era as a Buffalo Bills fan.
You see Bill Belichick watching his tape?
Yeah.
Not great if you're a Patriots fan. Belichick was like, oh, fuck yeah, I'd love to coach against this guy. His feet suck.
Oh, push against him. I thought you were saying it wasn't good because he liked him.
Oh, no. Well,
that's apparently not good either.
No, well, yes. Anybody that Bill Belichick said he would have drafted, you don't want. Anyway, we have Liam McHugh of TNT, of a lot of things. He's done it all. Major League Soccer on Apple TV, NBC Sports back in the day. One of the fine. I'm a sucker for hosts. One of the fine hosts in our beautiful game.
And you say fine, not as in like a...
Not as in looks.
Acceptable.
I don't like how he looks.
Yeah, but there's so many ways you could take fine. You could say fine from an objectification standpoint. You could say fine as, he's fine.
Yeah.
Or he is a fine host.
No, he's a damn fine host.
He's a damn fine host, yeah.
Although if you say he's a damn fine host, I feel like he should have like whiskey in front of him as he's hosting.
He's also a lovely gentleman. Lovely McHugh.
Looks like you.
People, I haven't gotten that in a while. Maybe it's because I'm getting uglier and he's only getting more handsome as he gets older.
More fine.
Nobody compares my looks to Liam McHugh's anymore. I'll live with that. Maybe I have to get back on track with my looks wise, but he was famously back in the day referred to as my work father.
Yes, which is funny because you get work husbands, work wives, work etc. when you spend a lot of time around a person and you do everything together as you would with a husband, a wife, a father, a sister, or whatever. You have worked remote your entire life. Had you met Liam McHugh when people were calling you his work father?
Hadn't
other way around.
Hadn't until 2019 when the Bruins were in the Stanley Cup final against the Blues, and he was in town for NBC, and we met, and it was that was like my first meeting of a lot of people in the hockey world. So no, we hadn't met.
Well, he's an absolute icon, and we can't wait to speak to him.
He's also an Islanders fan, which bad time to be an Islanders fan.
Bad time to be a lot of things right now. I'll tell you what, I thought that the Lightning were going to make this a series. Oh, they were going to win this series. They're down 3-0. Islanders down 3-0. We finally got a goalie being chased in a game, but unfortunately, the Islanders pulled Ilya Sorokin, and they were not going to win that game either way. This whole series has been not Varlamov's fault, not Sorokin's fault. Sometimes you say it's the team, but especially when the team sucks and is playing the Stanley
really
Cup
good
favorite,
team, yeah.
It's the team.
It is the team. There is not a lot of hope. The Eastern Conference playoffs bracket at this point kind of seems like a dud. Like 3 out of the 4 series in that East now seem like they're pretty much all but over. I mean, you've got the Panthers up 3-0 on Tampa. You've got the New York Rangers most likely about to take a 3-0 lead over the Washington Capitals. And then you've got the Carolina Hurricanes with a 3-0 lead over the New York Islanders. Like, did any of those series seem like there's hope left?
No. And as somebody who has I've watched every fucking playoff game this postseason, I realized yesterday. Crazy behavior. But
it's wonderful behavior.
I'm no longer interested in I don't want to watch Game 4 of the Lightning and the Panthers. I don't want to watch Game 4.
That's the one that does have a little bit of intrigue to me, just because of those 3 teams that are on the brink of getting sucked off. I think that the best one is Tampa, but Tampa's not a great team, and they're going up against a really, really good team in Florida.
Can I push back on something regarding the Tampa series? You see John Cooper after the game last night?
Yeah.
Being like, hey, the guys that want to show up, they can show up. And look, if you don't believe in this, you don't have to show up. But we're going to go out and we're going to give it our best. So many people were like, oh, pro's pro. Incredible. What the fuck is he supposed to say after going down 3-0? Is he supposed to be like, not looking amazing? We're playing against a team that will probably close us out. They swept in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, so that'll probably be us. The John Cooper horniness last night was a little annoying for me.
John Cooper is a bit of a media darling because he's very soft spoken, well spoken. He is lawyer speak, famously, former lawyer. I think that he knows how to play to a crowd, and John Cooper plays to the media.
The last thing I'll say on all of this is the Western Conference is catching a massive stray for people realizing that some series so far suck. Because I've heard more than the Eastern Conference bracket is terrible, is this first round hasn't been very fun.
Oh, what?
This first round, if you're smart and prioritize watching Western Conference games, has been a fucking party.
It's been awesome.
I might go to LA on Sunday just to see Game 4 against the Kings.
No, you won't. But if you do, that'd be amazing.
I might.
That'd be amazing.
I've priced the trip.
Have you?
Yes, I've priced it. So that means I might do it.
Okay.
Before we get to Liam McHugh, let me tell you about how I started this morning with a nice scoop of AG1 going all the way through my body, from my mouth to my brain, all the way down to the penis, and then the legs and the feet.
Got a question for you real quick. Why
What's
you
your
got
problem?
why you got a blue thumb?
What do I have, a blue thumb?
You got a really blue thumb.
Because I fucking do a show with a child who insists we make signs out of crayons.
I was gonna say that
You're
was
not
a,
gonna
that was
like
a
the
bet
answer.
that you made.
Yeah, because you are a fucking child and won't use the real materials to paint our signs. You made this fucking thing out of crayons, and this is sloppy and it's bad and
it's
nothing
an A-.
personal. But
It's an A-.
It-
This
it-
one's an A. And a real adult knows how to grab a work of art without rubbing his greasy, gross hands all over the art.
I know Pete didn't suggest he's the adult here. He used crayons to make signs.
I mean, we're both arguing about crayons. I don't know if there's an adult in the room.
I'm more of an adult, and now I'm an adult that has fucking blue shit all over my thumb because of fucking Pete. But it's on the inside that what counts. And the inside of me right now, nutrients. Crazy. Pumped full of them from AG1. I took it because I wanted to get a little more pep in my step. I don't always want to have to hammer coffee to get energy. I've just got this naturally bright disposition about me, and it's because of AG1. I just take a nice little scoop, thank you, Sean, as I wipe off the fucking child crayons from my... I trip over Pete's toys. A nice scoop into water. You could shake it up. You could stir it up. But here's the most important part. You got to drink it because it tastes so good. It makes you feel amazing. It is a real game changer in the nutrient and green powdery types of space. So,
And the word game changer is thrown around quite a bit these days. It's kind of, no, I'm just kidding.
well, if you want to take ownership of your health, it starts with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3, K2, and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/whatchaos. That's drinkag1.com/whatchaos. Check it out, and check out Liam McHugh, who joins us now from TNT, NHL on TNT. Maybe he's frozen or maybe he's in awe of that read. How are you, Liam?
I think it's a little bit of both. Am I frozen for you guys?
No, you're
Because
good.
that
No,
was
you're good.
maybe- That was the greatest promo I've ever heard, seen, witnessed. The fact that it's a game changer in the green powdery space, that's next level.
There's a lot-
and I'm excited for it now.
There's a lot of green powdery executives who were shaking when they found out about AG1.
That's
They
right.
were like, oh, fuck.
How are you, buddy? How are you
People
enjoying
spend a
these
lot of
playoffs?
time in that space. Yeah, listen, you spend your whole life trying to get into the green powdery realm, and then someone comes in there and boom, all
You-
your work,
Ye-
all your effort just blown away.
You know who I like to think were the executives that thought they had the green powdery space cornered, the Winklevoss twins. And then I forget the actor's name, but the guy who is in Spiral comes in. Is it Nick something comes in and is like, AG1
Nick
came
Cage,
out.
was it Nick Cage?
Yes.
Yes, it was Nicolas Cage in the Facebook movie.
We're
very
gonna
good.
Steal the green powder.
He was great. You didn't even know it was him in it. That's why
Yeah,
it was
is
so
it-
good.
Nick Minghella, is that his name?
I think I know who you're talking about, but
Yeah.
I don't know his name.
He's and it was controversial. I think that they quote unquote sweetened his skin to make him look an ethnicity that he was not.
Oh boy, that's
Whoa.
never a good term to use.
And if he didn't do
No,
that, I
no.
apologize to
It's
him.
been fun being on with you guys. This has been great.
Yeah, I feel like you're the one that's stalling. You're the one that followed up with the green stuff because you don't want to talk about the Islanders, which is fair.
Yeah, it's not good. The only good thing right now is that I'm not on Long Island, and I don't have to deal with my neighbors constantly bothering me about this. Although all of my idiot friends are sending me nothing but every single Maple Leafs tattoo that they've found on the internet. The bigger, the better. They sent me a full back tattoo yesterday and thought that would be, a tasteful option for me. So that's fun. This was a lot more fun when I thought it was going to happen to Biz. Definitely. I got in a little over my head, and no, I think I'm at this point, my only hope is the Boston Bruins.
So to catch people up on the speed who may not know, you made a bet with Biz before the playoffs that with the Islanders and the Leafs, whichever one goes further, the other person has to get a tattoo, correct?
So it's a little bit more specific than that. If it's round by round. So if the Islanders get swept, Biz does not automatically win this. If they both go out in the first round, it is then up to the fans who have been so kind to put their options on Twitter. We'll pick one from there. And by the way, fans, you don't have to lean into the tattoo portion of this bet. It could be something else. And no, neither one of us is going to get a Rangers tattoo. So stop suggesting that. It's not going to happen. The other part of that bet, and there are other parts of this, is that if Biz loses, he is going to get a pie in the face from an Islanders legend, which we are like really hoping is Butch Goring, and I see no reason why Butch Goring wouldn't jump at the opportunity to do this. And if I lose, I have to wear a Canadian tuxedo on air to host a Leafs game going forward, which isn't that bad of an option because I think I could then cut a hole in the jeans portion, the pants, and get the tattoo live on air on my leg. So that's the other part. It's going to be live on air, so that's fun too.
How do we involve Gretzky in this bet? I want him to have to get a tattoo.
Did he? Well, he had the best line last night. We, Biz asked him if he had any tattoos, and he said, "Would you put a bumper sticker on a Ferrari?" I said, yeah. Which, by the way, never made me feel like such a beat up station wagon in my life. As I look at the decisions I've made with my skin over the year. So,
You're a tattoo guy? I didn't know that.
I got a few. I don't have the I don't have the full sleeve. I don't have the patience to sit there. Actually, the first one I got, I fell asleep, so I don't want to plan for anything big because I don't know what I'm going to wake up to. No, I got a few, and not as many as Biz. Biz has some ones that he probably sits there and was like, I could do without. I feel comfortable with my decision making with tattoos until right now.
Yeah, you certainly seem like somebody who thinks things through a little bit more than Biz might, even like at this stage in his life. Early stage Biz, young Biz, I'm sure he made some decisions.
Listen, we have the locker room, and it's such a cool part of TNT where like you go into the locker room and your locker's next to like guys like Isaiah Thomas and Gretz is over in the legend section with Shaq and Barkley. But Biz is in there, and he takes the shirt off, and there's definitely there's a couple cool tattoos. Then there's the one that says Biz Nasty on it, and you're like, I don't know if that was really necessary. I mean, I think we know who you are, but there would be nothing better. And I don't think it's going to happen, obviously, if the Islanders suddenly came back, won this, shocked everybody, and Biz had to get not only an Islanders logo, but he had to get the Fisherman Islanders logo. And my original thought was Fisherman Islanders logo, but with Butch Goring's face.
That'd be amazing.
The best part about that is it would have to be so big. If you're going to actually get into the detail of having somebody's face on there, it would have to be a pretty big tattoo.
I think, and the best is, I think Biz is one of those guys where you'd be angry about it, and then just be like, all right, whatever. Is it going to make the show better? All right, just do it. Go ahead. And then he'd pout about it for the rest, but he would still do it. He would go through with it all. And, he's a tremendous teammate for that. But right now, it's not looking good. I'm not thrilled about anything that has happened. Certainly not thrilled with what happened with Sorokin last night. But I'm loving what Brad Marchand is bringing, and he's got to keep bringing that more and more for the Boston Bruins.
Oh, yeah, he's completely destroyed the Maple Leafs. I'm just going to pay a compliment before we get into more specific talk about the wonderful show that you do. You and Biz, man, I've always thought that you were an awesome host, and we see with a bunch of different panels and different sports that it's like, part of it is being an awesome host, and part of it is also getting an amazing combination of people to work with. You and Biz are so perfect together in how you set the tone for the rest of the group, and everybody else on that show is really, really good as well. But I feel like somehow Biz doesn't get enough credit for being really intelligent with just the hockey talking points that he brings up, and you being good at limiting how much he screws around. But I feel like even he knows not to take up too much time dicking around.
I think he's got the perfect balance. I also think you mentioned he's a really smart hockey mind. He's thinking about this game and watching this game all day long. He's an absolute hockey addict. So when he comes on the air, like, he wants to have fun, he wants to be entertaining, but if he sees something and wants to make a point, he's going to go out of his way to make sure that the tape is correct, that the timing of it's all correct. He works at it, and I love that about him. And he also realizes that, he's at one end of this desk, and often at the very end of the other side is Wayne Gretzky. And there's a time to mess around, which is a lot of our show, which is awesome. We go off the rails and we keep it there, which is fun. But then there's also a time to have a good discussion and ask follow-up questions. And for me, it's fun also just to sit back sometimes, kind of tee them up, and then see Biz and Anson go back and forth and ask Gretzky questions. And I love looking, like, you look at their eyes and they look like they're like 11-year-olds again, like just talking to their idol and asking them like little detailed questions. And the biggest, I think, uncertainty for me was, would Gretzky be willing to share everything that he was willing to share? And he has been. He's been so open. He wants to tell stories. He wants to take you back, bring you inside the locker rooms with all these legends, and give you details of the games back then. I mean, last night he told a story about playing against Reinhardt's dad when he was a kid, and how there was no glass. It was just the boards. And Reinhardt's dad was kind of a big, strong defenseman, even though they were kids, and he was giving him a hard time. And Gretzky's grandmother hit Reinhardt over the boards with her purse, and she was just smacking him. And this guy's looking at him. He's like, "What is happening here?" And I think the cool thing is, like, no, that's planned. Gretzky just in the moment was like, that was cool talking to Reinhardt. Let me tell you this unbelievable story. And I don't know, it's weird how these things work, because you put 4 or 5 people in a room together, you wonder what the chemistry is going to be like. But it's worked so well. And I got to tell you, before I worked here, I always said Keith Jones was the best teammate I had in this job. And I would say Biz is right there with him. And obviously Anson, who I've worked with for such a long time. But there's a dynamic between Biz and I. And I don't know, he makes this job so much more fun for me.
And the last thing I'll say on that, I'm sure it's also your producers, but like, you're so good at, for lack of a better term, like editing, letting the conversation go for as long as it's interesting. You're knowing that there's so many moving parts, and that Biz is going to take it here, and that you might have something you could do with Hank or whatever. Like, if something's going a little longer than a producer might want it to, it feels like it goes the appropriate length.
I listen, I appreciate that. And all the compliments, I don't know. I hate getting compliments. It's like such a weird feeling. And I don't know. I probably need to seek some sort of therapy about all of that. But it's another issue, and I'm not on the couch right now. But I would also say that I think our producers, and I think everyone at TNT has this feel that if something is good, just go with it. Let it ride. Let's see where it takes us. If it's different or weird, that's okay. Treat it the way you would treat a conversation if you were with friends on a couch at a bar. Why would you change the subject? Like, suddenly, if you're in the middle of something. And I love that from them. Like, there's no pressure on me to get to some sort of, listen, we have this killer graphic that we got to throw up there. And what sucks is, like, we know people worked on those and they put time and effort into it. But at the same time, we have the best people where they say, hey, I put the time, I put the effort, maybe we'll get to it later in the night. And that's cool, because the show is going to take us where it takes us. And I think top down to TNT, that's the vibe we want. And that's really the show I want to do. So, I mean, it's cool also to know that the show you want to do is the show that people are responding to.
Yeah, and I mean, you said don't change subject if things going well, and so I'm going to pay you a compliment, and I know that you hate them, but I'm going to pay you a compliment anyway. You're really good at like steering the conversation, but also being the adult in the room, and that has gone back to like you're a good moderator, and that's gone back to the last job at NBC too. I'm just curious for you, and you kind of alluded to this a little bit ago, like going from NBC to TNT. And then the process of TNT and letting it develop, it seems like everybody on that panel has really done a really good job of settling into their roles and growing over the past couple of years. I'm curious to you as what that journey's looked like behind the scenes with guys like Gretzky, who, like, when Gretzky showed up, we were all a little nervous. You're like, are they getting Gretzky just to say that they have Gretzky? Like, he wasn't super like media trained. What has the process been like to watch those guys settle into that role?
Yeah, I think first with Gretz, to start there, it's just he's I know he's a superstar and he's a god, and but at its root, he's a hockey player, and hockey players are good teammates. You know, and I tell the story where, like, in the first week after meeting him, he had watched me, and I was constantly, like, taking my glasses on and off. I think it's just a habit because I didn't wear them my whole life, and I'm just not used to them. So I got a call out of nowhere, and it was Gretzky, and he's asking me about my eyes, and he has a great eye doctor in New York, and I should see him. And I mean, I didn't even know he had my phone number. You know, like, we'd worked together one night, and I'm having this long conversation about my eyes, and I get off the phone, and my wife's in the other room. She's like, "Who was that?" And I said, like, "That was Wayne Gretzky, who wants me to go see an eye specialist so that you know, I can feel better about myself in my job." He's that type of guy. And then going forward, it was this knowledge that he's paying attention. Like, whether, you know, he's behind the scenes and you haven't heard from him in a while, he's watching all the games. And he started texting us when we were doing shows and he wasn't there the first year. And we realized, like, oh, Gretzky likes this. Like, he wants to be part of this group. He wants to be back in this. And then, you know, a few weeks into it, when we were getting comfortable enough to really jab at each other a little bit more than we did in the first couple of shows, the fact that Gretzky came on and he delivered daggers to guys. Like, he started, you know, just chirping back at people. And when Gretzky chirps you, like, it's over. It's done. Like, he just absolutely ends the fight right then and there. And there's nothing you could do to come back at him. But the fact that he wants to give and take, I think, is surprising in some ways to a lot of people. And it's really made the show what it is. Anson, I think, is, like, he's so underrated in the fact that he could talk about anything at any time within the sport. He's so knowledgeable. He's someone who can break down the game, but he's also someone who can sit back, let nonsense go back and forth, and he kind of twists the knife a little bit once in a while just to get guys going. And, you know, he did that the other day where he was talking about Drew Doughty, what a great game he played. And he could not believe that it was the first time Drew Doughty had scored a goal since way back in 2014 in June of that year. Oh, yeah, Stanley Cup final against you, Hank. And it was just like the perfect layout. And, like, Hank was just like, oh, man, like, I knew it was coming. You didn't have to hit me with that. But it was like, it's one of those good moments. And it's an underrated skill that he can be there and be a serious hockey guy, but really appreciate everything in the room. And Biz, I think, is there's no one like him. There's just no one like him in TV. He's so uber talented. He's smart. He's funny. He's self-deprecating, and he's completely unpredictable. What I love to say is that he can give you an intelligent breakdown, but I can also tee him up for the most basic question where the response should be so predictable, and his response is so far off the map that I think maybe 10 years ago I wouldn't know what to do with it, but now it's so comfortable knowing that I'll throw something out there and I have no idea what's going to bounce back, that the show may change 2 seconds into it and we may be going some other direction, and eventually we'll get back to what we were talking about and you'll get to a game.
I have two follow-ups there.
Right.
Number one, what is Wayne Gretzky's, like, calling habits? Because you just mentioned you barely knew him. He called you, FaceTimed you, gave you a recommendation for an eye specialist. And then last night, JJ McCarthy was giving his post-draft interview, and Wayne Gretzky called him in the middle of his post-draft interview. Seems like that guy's just willing to call anybody at any time.
Yeah, if he's been handed your phone number, there's a good chance you're going to get a call. It's funny. I've heard this from other people. We had Tony Granato on, not long ago, and he was talking about how he was coaching at the Olympics in 2018, and they had lost a big game, and he's walking out through the mixed media zone, and boom, the first thing on his phone is Wayne Gretzky. Like, he's calling him in that moment to let him know just how proud he was of him, and how proud he was, that his kids are being raised in America, and there's a coach like this. He's just generous like that. I would honestly say that maybe 3 of the nicest texts I've ever gotten in my life are all from Wayne Gretzky. And there is no bigger tire pump in the world than getting a random text from Wayne Gretzky where he tells you that you're doing a great job and that he loves working with you and can't wait to be back on the set. I mean, I don't care what kind of horrible day you are having, I don't care if you just got attacked by a shark, you are feeling better in like an instant that Wayne Gretzky has texted you. And that's from what I've heard from other people. That's exactly who he is. So I would also say, I can't believe people are turning down his calls. I don't care what situation.
JJ McCarthy, of all people, ignoring a Wayne Gretzky call immediately after getting drafted.
I know it's a big night,
red flag,
but you pick up that phone. There's no way you turn down that call.
The cool thing about Gretzky there is, I don't know this, but I do. He just has to. There's no way Gretzky says that he calls people. I bet he says he phones people. He's got that energy about him. Canadian.
Second follow-up question. Can you give Wayne Gretzky our numbers?
I'll do it. Why not?
Just want to get one of those calls.
Just Pete's.
Why not?
Are you going to so it'd be wasted. My phone doesn't ring.
Listen, I'm not giving you. If you're not going to pick up the phone, then there's no way.
It would be. I don't know what. It happened like 3 years ago, and I've never done anything about it. I accidentally did some setting on my phone. I've Googled it, how to fix it. I don't know what it is, and I don't really care to fix it. My phone never rings. If you call me, it fucking misses the call. So don't give Wayne Gretzky my number. I don't know. Maybe like Wayne Gretzky would really like me. You'd be intrigued.
If you call it goes to voicemail straight the first time, but if you call the second time, it'll go through. So you're like on permanent do not disturb mode or something like that.
It could be that.
You are basically my 85-year-old father.
Who we gave that would make me Pete's grandfather.
That's true.
It would. Congratulations to you then. Yeah.
I wanted to say, you mentioned Gretzky gave you a note about your eyesight. If your eyes are anything like your facial hair, 2020. Bam, another compliment, bitch.
I must be on some sort of filter here that like takes away the Irish patchiness of this whole experience. It's really not a good look.
You look great.
What kind of Wi-Fi you got over there? Because that Wi-Fi, is
it as terrible as it feels on this end? Yeah.
Yes.
This is brutal.
Someone in the chat called you 280 PM McHugh.
The audio is great though, so that's all
Clear
that really matters.
I feel like I'm in my basement and my mom's gonna pick up the phone and this whole thing's gonna get disconnected.
So that would be my wife then in this fucked up thing we're doing. Yes. We're keeping it all familial.
Tell your wife not to pick up the damn phone, all right?
On Wayne Gretzky, P knows where I'm going with this, and apologies to listeners who have heard this 1,000 times out of us. Here's how I remember the whole Wayne Gretzky thing going with TNT. At first, it was everybody was feeling each other out, and he wasn't yet what he is now. And then one game, maybe it was in the playoffs, maybe it was in an overtime game where you might be talking about how PB&Js and pizzas going around. At some point, somebody, I'm assuming you, asked Wayne, hey, Wayne, you ever eat food during a game? And Wayne said, oh, yeah. And he hasn't stopped since. And now you guys can fuck around. Biz is doing whatever, making cat noises. And then you just turn and be like, hey, Wayne, ever eat a candy bar during the game? And he's like, one time I scored a goal. In between periods, ate 3 candy bars, came back, scored another goal. And both the set and all the viewers are like, oh, shit, that's incredible. I love his food stories. Ask him more.
He's drinking soda and eating hot dogs. I mean, it's incredible, right? One of the greatest athletes of all time, just sitting there, basically like going to the concession stand in the intermission, loading up, eating whatever crap's available, and then going out and torching people. I love that, and I love the comfort that he has. Like, we go out and do those demos, and they don't always go right, which is sometimes a lot better for TV. But we did this whole one where it was pass-off pads, right? And Biz wanted to really, he's all jazzed up about this, all pumped. He's going to teach people that, it's not a real shot. They're trying to pass it off the pads because they know they're not going to score. And he's talking through, and Anson's helping him out. And we're going through the whole thing. And Wayne has not said a word. And at the very end, he's like, Wayne, what did you think of this situation? And he goes, pass off pads. He goes, why wouldn't I just shoot and score? It's like, why would anyone pass off pads? Like, it was 5 minutes of the most passionate plea of how this is the most important thing in the game right now, and then Wayne coming in and being like, "Yeah, I don't think so. That didn't make any sense to me. Just score the goal."
That is so true. When people talk about like how different players would hold up in different eras, like Gretzky, I couldn't see playing today because he would see a teammate throw it intentionally wide and be like, "Why the fuck didn't you put it in the net, you big dummy?"
Well, I mean, that's also like why probably explains why Wayne Gretzky
Coaching.
wasn't the best coach, because he'd just be like, "Hey, just go out there and be the fucking best."
I think it's impossible for guys who are all-time greats, guys who are Hall of Famers, to coach. It has got to be the most frustrating experience in the world.
Yeah.
It has got to just bother you to no end. Like, I don't understand why you couldn't do that. Why couldn't you make a pass right on the tape? It was right there. You're going full speed, but who cares? There's no excuse. And I also, then it gets even worse when it's a great player who had an unbelievable amount of desire, and both of those things aren't there. I can't even imagine the level of frustration that those guys feel, where it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't compute to them why these things can't click and can't happen. So
I'm curious about the TNT. Obviously, you guys have great chemistry on the air. What's like the off the air relationship like with those guys? What kind of shit do you guys get into down there in Atlanta?
don't speak to them ever. Just
Save it.
ignore
Save it for the
them.
show.
Yeah. No, it's an easy group of people to get along with. We're on text threads throughout the entire week. If things pop that one person sees, they share with everyone. And I think it's like any text thread that like you have with your buddies, where it may start off with like, "Oh my God, did you see this?" And then people are reacting to that and showing you something else. And then it just devolves into like one person on the thread being made fun of for almost no apparent reason, right? Like someone responded idiotically or like responded to a different text on this one, and then it's just everyone hammering that person until you eventually see them face to face again. It's a great group in that respect.
So
Who's the
you
biggest
guys,
target?
yeah, you guys just fucking smoke Gretzky all day.
I will say this: when Rick Tocchet was on a lot of these threads back in the day, it was tremendous to see Tock and Gretz go back and forth, because like a lot of us are like tiptoeing into this. I'm not sure I want to just like I don't want a documented text that I'm smack talking Gretzky. Like I mean, we'll tell some stories and there'll be legends and everything like that, but Gretz would just hit Tocchet up. He'd go back, and it was unafraid. And I think the rest of us were just like fans at that point, just hoping that this text thread would continue to see like the ... the bubbles popping up, and like something was coming back and forth from these two guys. I love that. And listen, I'm happy Tocchet's doing his thing, but man, we miss him. He was such a big part of the show, a big part of what we did. And honestly, and you talk about Gretzky opening up, Rick Tocchet was a huge part of that. And it was just the comfort level he had with them. Old friends, guys who know each other a long, long time. There's a lot of trust there. And Tocchet was a huge part of everything we got going here at TT.
The group text thing is so fascinating, and we tried to ask Brad Marchand about this earlier in the year. Like, that never existed 20 years ago or whatever. But like the idea that Patrice Bergeron retires, and they're like, okay, well now do we remove him from our group text? And now is he not part of that conversation anymore? And let's be real, when Zdeno Chara retires, they're probably like, he was probably yelling at us on the group text. Now we're gonna have like a lighter group text. Is it so like Tocchet leaves and now he's done?
He's basically done. I mean, I think we've had him on the show, and he's been on certain ones, so you have to like be careful which one you're on. But yeah, Tocchet, he's off it. I think a big part of this is we just don't want to bother the guy. I mean, he's got a hell of a lot more pressure in his life right now than any of us do. But yeah, he basically kind of exits the group chat. Henrik Lundqvist enters the group chat. And then we start adding like a few other personalities in there, depending on like the week and the show. And you get Keith Yandel in the mix, which is always good for a laugh. You get Colby Armstrong, who is, I think, tremendous and just a completely weird dude / great hockey
He's so
mind.
weird.
So he fits in so perfectly. He really is. And I love that. Like, he's kind of just a wild card dynamic to bring in. But Jans is great too, because Jans is always good for like a very, very dry comment, and also good for a prank, where I can tell you that like Colby Armstrong missed one of our calls for a show because he's got like 19 jobs. He's flying all over the country. So he missed it. We had a new producer that week, and he didn't even know who he was. So immediately, Jens, without telling anyone else, had his friend text Colby from a number that obviously Colby didn't have, and tell him how he was a selfish, entitled athlete who should have been on. And this is the producer, and I hope this isn't, a look at what I'm going to be dealing with. And Colby then called me in a panic, like, oh, I don't know this guy. I missed. And this went on for like hours, just. And afterwards, Colby apologized to this random texter. And the text then went back and said, great, I'm glad you apologized. And I'm glad we can both agree that you're selfish. And it was amazing. And at the end of this, like Jens, who has not told anyone, eventually he told me, but had not told anyone, was just sitting laughing and getting this message relayed to him from his friend, who, by the way, his friend also has nothing better to do than to do this, which seems perfect. Like, it's definitely someone Jens grew up with who was like, oh yeah, man, like thick Boston accent. He's just talking to Jens. He's like, I will absolutely spend my day just texting your friend.
You know what? One of the bets should be with Biz. Here's a good thing. And an NDA could be involved, so the person's not allowed to share it. If Biz loses, like one random listener or whatever gets Biz's phone number, and Biz has to text with them.
That's excellent.
It's got to be
Biz
pen
might
pals
like
with a fucking stranger.
Biz might embrace that whole thing.
Yeah, he would like
He'd
root
be
for
in
never
that,
know.
be like, yo, I just made another friend for free, sucker.
Yeah. Like,
That's
comes in the
amazing.
next day, he's tired. I'm like, what were you doing? He's like, oh, I was texting this random person I did not know, like, just all night. We're buddies now. Gonna go hang out.
Let me ask you this: which current player do you think has the best chops to potentially join the panel in the future?
Wow.
Sebastian
There's
Aho.
a few. Listen, Ryan Reeves has been great every time he comes on.
Yeah.
Ryan Reeves has been tremendous. Brad Marchand would be just unbelievable TV, right? And I think he gets it. I also think there's a dynamic where, and we've seen it this year, right, where Marchand can be playful, he can be serious, he sees all sides of the game. So I think he would be excellent at this as well. There's a few people who I think are just great hockey minds. We've spoken to Alex Pietrangelo a bunch. He's one of those guys I think sees the game at a different level than a lot of the other players. But I could also see him being an executive. I could also just see him saying, hey, I made a lot of money. I'm not going to do any of this. So, but I'd say Marchand, I'd say Revo. Those are probably two of the guys who I think if they want it, this type of career could be an easy transition for either one of them. Who do you guys?
I mean, Marchand would be awesome, but I think that, like,
You can't have him, he's ours.
yeah, like we'd like him to be ours, and also, like, I want to write a book with him and make a
No
movie
sharing
with him.
at
Yes.
all?
And the problem with having Ryan Reeves is that if anything happens on the panel, you can't use the term, this never would have happened if Ryan Reeves was here. So you gotta consider that.
That's true, but listen, we've had Craig Berube on, and so I feel like the dynamic of having someone like really intimidating on the end of the panel, where you're in some ways worried, where you want to like have a good time and poke fun at everyone, but at the same time you're like not sure if something terrible could happen. It's been there already. We've dealt with it. I don't know, man. I got to go with Revo also. The simple fact, Revo came on, did not win the Mr. TNT award, which is obviously very prestigious, but thought he had won it and came on with us tarpless, wearing a bow tie.
Outrageous.
That guy will find any excuse to not wear a shirt.
Disappointed that he had not won this made-up award.
We're doing a thing this postseason where we have bingo cards, because whenever something happens in a game that is unexpected, somebody says that it was not on their bingo card, even though bingo cards consist of fucking numbers. So we made bingo cards for this postseason. Pete got bingo in like 1 second. Beat all of our listeners, crushed us, got the quickest bingo I've ever seen in my life. You see Austin Matthews scoring a goal, there is the free space. Could you please hammer some bingo card references on the show if anything surprising happens.
This is purely just a surprising type moment.
Say, or maybe if it's a common thing, just say.
Bet you had that on your bingo card.
Say
Like, just say, like, reference. That's always the references. Didn't have this on my bingo card. Maybe somebody had this on their bingo card. Something like that.
I can actually, we'll send you our bingo cards. So maybe you could even do, as a game goes into double overtime, hey, congratulations to DJ. This was on his bingo card. He needed this one. Oh, a player with the number 90 scored. That's very big for Sean.
Well, I would have thought Sebastian Aho hits Sebastian Aho.
Oh, we
would
have that.
been a possibility.
We have like Aho on Aho stuff on the bingo card.
Did you see did you see Aho with us talking about the other Aho?
Did he enjoy that conversation?
He didn't enjoy a second of the conversation, beginning to end with us. We took it to mean he's locked in for the playoffs, which rocks. Because we're ace interviewers, we're class. But he was very nice. He was just locked in, didn't really feel like doing an interview. But at the end, we asked him how grateful he was for us to have not asked him about the other Aho. And he said, well, now you have asked me about the other Aho. And then we yelled at him and said, clean your ears out, dummy. We said we were asking about not asking about it. And it was a nice back and forth. That guy's locked in.
Locked in.
Canes at
well,
4.
it sounds like if Brad Marchand doesn't work out for your show, you've got him basically.
But you know what?
Signed and sealed for the future. So
Brad Marchand was fucking awesome with us too. He was actually he was
awesome.
He'd just been named captain, and he came in and was just a fucking goof monster with us. Love him.
Before we get you out of here, have you lost faith in the Islanders? Are you out on the Isles?
I'm almost there. Listen, I grew up an Islanders and a Mets fan, so like you live with just the idea that disappointment is looming, and you're waiting for next year constantly. So that hurts. If I'm gonna hang my hat on anything, it's the fact that I thought in Game 1 they were better than the Canes. I thought last night they outshot them, and if they don't let up a soft goal, they're right there in that game as well. But do I think they're going to win 4 straight games? No. Carolina right now is probably the second best team in the playoffs. I would say the Panthers are the best. So, again, I would hope a miracle happens and Varlamov comes back in and he's unbeatable. But a lot of this is going to come down to the Boston Bruins. And the simple fact is Toronto has not beaten them in a playoff series since 1959, and I feel pretty good about that.
I think they're fucking broken. We'll talk more about the Sheldon Keefe, Jim Montgomery stuff in just a little bit on the show, but I think the Leafs are so broken. Someone in the chat asks, are we rigging the bingo cards by feeding topics to broadcasters now? Good question. Yes. Sean's bingo card needs you to make a reference to the Avalanche once being the Nordiques
or Carolina.
Jets. Did the Jets being the Thrashers?
Any team's former identity. So the Thrashers, the Nordiques, the Whalers, any of it will get me bingo.
So just something to think about.
Well, you're going to get a Thrashers reference at some point. Colby Armstrong's going to be on, and he will make a point of referencing that. No doubt.
It's great news for Sean.
Thrashers legend, Colby Armstrong.
Well, you're a legend, Liam. You're so good at what you do, and we're very grateful that you joined us. We hope to talk to you with don't feel bad about the Wi-Fi, because no matter how many pixels there are, the picture is incredible, if you know what I'm saying. I'm talking about your looks. That's another compliment.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm good when it's blurry and frozen, and dim lighting helps as well. So thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me.
Of course. Thank you for coming
Bye.
on. Very, very generous with his time. Thank you, Liam McHugh.
Just as good as it gets. Let's do a little Manscaped talk, shall we?
Let's do it.
I haven't shaved my face yet. I'm picking my spots. When do I go for the Daniel Plainview look? I've been on a steady diet of alcohol and steak with my hands. So I'm trying to grow, that scene.
Steak with your hands has got to be like the craziest thing that you can do as a human.
When you go to visit a guy, and I know you're desperate and you need money, but when you go to visit a guy who has already slapped you, shoved you into mud, told you to splash around in there,
And like has literally said, I'm going to kill you.
and has promised to kill you. When you arrive at his home, he is passed out, gets up,
sweaty as fuck.
and goes wearing a big ass shawl collar cardigan that just could not have been period appropriate. Goes right over to some sort of clear alcohol and steak that is sitting out and begins eating it with his hands. Why do you stay?
Serious.
Why do you ask him a question?
Run
How
for
do
the
you think that
fucking
you're going to
hills.
make up any ground in that conversation?
And granted, I wonder if Daniel Plainview ever used that bowling alley to bowl. He's
Definitely
not
not.
entertaining guests.
No, zero. And he's not. He doesn't strike me as a bowling by himself kind of guy.
That bowling alley is 100% there for murder purposes only. It's only for murdering people.
It's such a good movie.
It's the best. So watch There Will Be Blood. It's written and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, based on the Upton Sinclair novel Oil. Did you read that?
I haven't read that, but big history guy, Upton Sinclair. If you're into history and into journalism, Upton Sinclair is kind of the guy.
Upton Sinclair is a like all-time name,
Yeah.
Yes.
A+ name.
Should I
All-time
start
guy, too.
reading Oil? Should
I was
You should.
like LeBron?
Well,
in the
we-
play, like every
so
time
not
postseason.
actually read Oil.
What's that?
So not actually read Oil. Just walk in with your
First
finger, like
page?
the first page. Yeah.
I think
Not a
Pete
cre-
and I,
not a
I was
cre-
never going to read
not a
Oil.
crease in that margin.
Yeah, I was never going to read it.
I'll actually read Oil.
It's
Just
an
carry-
accessory.
Fuck. What are you guys doing after the show? I'm going to run to a bookstore, get the book Oil, and then let's just go around town and take some candid pictures of me walking.
Reading
to,
Oil?
Like heading to the movies, I'm opening the door and you see that I'm holding Oil in my hand.
That
They're
should-
like, he must read Oil.
I know we've talked about it being a hockey book. That should be the summer book club. If we
Well,
do a
no,
summer book club.
I think we've moved away from the it being hockey books in the summer book club.
Scripted reality.
Well, that
No,
too.
no. I still want to do the book club, but I want to do like a book club that revolves around individuals' interests. Whether it's like you
Starting to lose me.
Oil.
No, like you saying we're reading Oil and we're doing a book club, or like we get a player who's like, this is my favorite book. Let's read this.
I
book.
like that. I don't want to be happy with this thing. If we're reading books, especially if it's going to be
You won't be happy. You'll get like
fiction.
6 pages into Oil and you'll be like, I don't want to read this.
I don't know if 6 is where I get. So I like with watching a show, it can take me a while to get 2 episodes in, but once I'm like 3 episodes in, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm going all the way through. So if I like the first 5 pages of Oil, I ain't putting that down, brother.
Should we get corncob pipes for our book club? That would be the best.
All I know is within 1 calendar hour, in my hands will be Oil, and at some point, I'm going to take a break because not every man, but sometimes a guy has just got to use a razor, an electric razor, to shave his private area. So when I am not reading Oil by Upton Sinclair, I will be doing that using Manscaped. And quite frankly, depending on how I'm going to go about it, I could see myself doing it during. Read, book in one hand, thumb in the middle of the book. You ever do that? You could do thumb in the middle of the book. You hold a book like this.
I'm like a middle finger or like index finger as a bookmark kind of guy.
I am a big. Well, first off, you can use the Manscaped.
Light.
You could use the light as a book.
Oh.
I'm a big, like 50% of reading a book is miserable for me because I'm a big roll the thinner side behind the rest
Whoa.
of the book and just kind of have
Oh,
a
I
one thing.
hate that.
No, but that
Halfway
means
through the
you know what though? People look at that book and they say, "A motherfucker read that."
Mhm. I'm a big reader.
That book, man.
But the problem
he
with
cleaned that book out.
problem with that is that half the time you're reading on the thick side, and so you can't really roll it behind. And
I'll be honest. Sometimes I'm like missionary 10 and 2.
newspaper kind of guy.
Just sit down, do it like that.
If I have to have both open, I'm going thumb in the middle, 2 fingers behind type deal.
Yeah, I like thumb in the middle, 2 fingers behind. I do like that Sean.
I misinterpreted what you were saying, by the way. So that's when I said middle finger or index finger in the middle. That's not what I was referring to.
Did you? Oh,
I was referring to like keeping your place when you fold the book and you're just like doing something in the meantime.
Oh, no. I mean, let's say this crayon napkin is a book.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thumb is the separator between the pages. Yes.
Okay.
That's the way to go. Yeah.
That's how I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Did you know
Yeah.
that every hour, one man is diagnosed with testicular cancer?
Incredible segue.
In fact, testicular cancer is the most common form of cancer among men aged 15 to 35. With April being National Testicular Cancer Awareness Month, our friends over at Manscaped have partnered with the Testicular Cancer Society to help spread awareness for men's health and early cancer detection. Visit manscaped.com/TCS to learn how to check yourself for early signs of cancer. It says check yourself in quotes. That feels like the most inappropriate thing I've said during this very long Manscaped read.
Yeah, I haven't done like the whole like check yourself. Like I haven't spiced it up because it comes at like right after talking about cancer.
I saw an ad for something. Oh, I'll have to say what it was off the air. But I saw an ad for something that was doing that kind of thing, and it seemed a little forced. It doesn't seem forced here because checking yourself is
important.
Very important. God, we all have friends and loved ones who have been through this horrible experience, and the earlier you can detect it, of course, the better. So visit manscaped.com/TCS to learn how to check yourself for early signs of cancer. And as always, you can use promo code WhatChaos for 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com. We got to clip that whole Manscaped read.
A lot of people saying in the chat that our discussion about how we hold our books and how we read was very sexual.
I wondered lightly if any of us would go there.
As soon as I did this with my hand, I was like, oh yeah, people are going to be like, that's a sex thing. But that's not where we were going. We're scholarly, not always horny.
So because you go like, hey, let's have... That's what that was?
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
What just happened there?
So chat's talking about, did DJ just say that he reads books missionary style?
He did say that.
I said missionary 10 and 2.
Oh, God. All right. Well, today's episode is also brought to you by PXG, my favorite golf company in the world. Because guess what? PSG is all about forgiveness. And as a stinky golfer who needs a lot of forgiveness, I appreciate them for that. They don't make you sacrifice distance and have to give up, important parts of the game to get that forgiveness. Their golf clubs are tailor-made, not the other tailor-made. TAILOR, tailor-made to fit your game. And all you got to do is go to a PXG location near you and do the Black Ops Driver Challenge. They'll fit you perfectly. They'll take a look at your swing, see what you need, see what needs to be worked on, where you can improve. I did it. It was an incredible experience. Shout out to my guy Brandon at the Framingham location of PXG. Awesome stuff. I haven't been out on the course with my Black Ops Driver yet, but I have it, and I'm ready to go, and I'm very excited. So if you want to go and do the same thing that I did, head to a PXG location and see how the Black Ops Driver can change your game, because Game Changer has been thrown around so much, it kind of loses its meaning these days. But trust me when I tell you, the PXG Driver is a true game changer. You'll be impressed. I was impressed. So learn more. Get free shipping on all equipment at pxg.com/whatchaos and use code whatchaos at checkout. That's pxg.com/whatchaos, code whatchaos for free shipping on all equipment. pxg.com/whatchaos using code whatchaos.
Shots fired regarding the use of Game Changer. You said it's thrown around a lot. I threw it around in an AG1
It's
ad.
thrown around a lot.
And that was a very well-received ad. Liam McHugh couldn't believe it. He had a lot of questions about green powdery stuff. Man, I suck it down. One time a day. The chat loved reading Missionary, by the way. That's catching on. People are going to tell all their friends to do that. I'm a little distracted because I cannot find a copy of Oil for pickup within 50 miles of here. That's crazy.
That's why bookstores are dying, man. Amazon's killing bookstores.
Love bookstores, man. Huge bookstores.
I love bookstores.
I love a good Barnes & Noble.
I'd fuck up a bookstore right now if they could give me Oil.
Fucking oil.
I can't tell you the last time that I went to a store, though, with like, I wonder if they'll have this here. If there's a question of like, I wonder if they'll carry this, I just go to Amazon.
I have, because I'll go to bookstores like being like, I'm gonna get some books. I wonder if they have this one. If not, I'll go somewhere. I'll get like a different book. I very much want to read The Bronx is Burning. It's a very interesting book.
Is that the Yankees one?
It's about like the political scene in New York in the context of the New York Yankees pennant race.
And Son of Sam, right?
What's that?
And the Son of Sam?
Yeah.
This was there was an ESPN miniseries about this.
Yeah. So I very much want to read that book, but they didn't have it the last time I went to a bookstore. So
I watched it. John Turturro played Billy Martin, I believe.
Yep. And then Oliver Platt played George Steinbrenner.
Good casting. Logical casting. The Bruins and Leafs series is getting more gamesmanship. Jim Montgomery said that the Max Domi bump on Jeremy Swayman maybe means that the Leafs are a little afraid of old Sway. Let's hear it. What?
Sorry, I started to cut you off, but Pucks and Paperbacks, an incredible name for the conversation that we've been having, said tomorrow is Indie Bookstore Day. So
I should go and be like, do you have that rare one?
There's an indie bookstore like right down the street from my apartment. I believe it's like a all like female author bookstore because it's called All She Wrote. I guess I kind of just doxed myself a little bit, but
Sean's
check
address is
address reveal when.
It's not close enough for anyone to actually be able to figure out.
Drop a
where
pin, Sean.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry to cut you off.
No, Jeremy Swayman is in the Leafs' heads, according to Jim Montgomery. Let's hear it.
Swayman's had success against the Leafs.
Oh, my fault. We're going to have Jim Montgomery, and we're also going to have Sheldon Keefe reacting to that. I think that right now we feel Sheldon Keefe, the bigger crybaby. Jim Montgomery, kind of crybaby behavior by doing the, how come we have to stay in Toronto?
That
but
was
Sheldon Keefe being a bigger crybaby. So knowing that, here are the boys.
Swayman's had success against the Leafs. Do you buy into the idea sometimes it really just has a team's number, gives them more confidence, or is that just an aberration that you lose 5-0 against them?
Yeah, sometimes I don't think that. But, you know, when Domi goes off the bench and bumps him on purpose, makes me think that maybe he's in their head a little bit.
Jim Montgomery had suggested that the Domi bump on Swayman during that TV timeout might be a sign that he's in the Leafs' heads. Like, what was your perspective on what happened there, and do you sense any frustration that the chances haven't fallen?
I sense zero frustration, and I think it's playoff hockey, and things are happening all over the ice. You know, with that logic, you would say every time they bump into one of our guys, maybe we're in their heads. I don't think that's anything to do with it.
I love the idea that the Leafs are in every Bruin's head. That is very funny to me. And not to do like oh, you think that we're in your head, but it just like literally think about that. That's very funny.
I kind of agree with Sheldon Keefe there, though, honestly, is that like it seems like a stretch to be like, Domi's been a shithead to everybody in this series. It's not like
doing his job.
He's not just targeting Jeremy Swayman because Jeremy Swayman's been good against the Leafs. Max Domi clearly entered this series being like, I'm going to be a shithead and be a problem for everybody, including my own fan base at points. So, like, I don't read too much into that. My bigger takeaway here is that I love the gamesmanship and the back and forth between the coaches. Like, that's the one thing that we typically don't get a ton from Bruins Leafs, as far as I can remember.
I was going to say just in the playoffs. Because
no, in the playoffs coaches, you do. Yeah.
You have to, even if you look like a crybaby at points. Like, you just
Craig
fucking
Berube.
have to do it. Craig
Berube like almost won his team a Stanley Cup by bitching to the media about the referees. So, like, if it gives your team an advantage or, you know, creates a rift in the series, absolutely go do it. But as far as an entertainment standpoint, like Sheldon Keefe, Jim Montgomery war? Fuck yeah.
Sean, could you go to the end of the Sheldon Keefe there? Just fast forward to showing Sheldon Keefe, because someone in the chat asked, did Sheldon Keefe ask his barber for the Saravalli? They have similar energy. Yeah. It's nice.
Well, are Mike still alive? Okay. Yeah, like that's not a ask your barber kind of thing. They just have silver hair.
It's the white guy haircut and they have silver hair.
Yes. Yeah, like,
and they both like hockey.
Correct. So
and they're both Frank.
They're literally the same person. So that's not like a give me the Frank.
I mean, he is very frank in his I'm crying about whatever. Nice. I'll tell you what though, Frank Saravalli, very appropriately named man.
He is very frank. And
you say, hey, I'm not sure about that report. And he says, suck a dick, loser, and just gets right to the
I
core.
believe he has a podcast called Allow Me to Be Frank.
Whoa.
Or Frankly Speaking, one of the two.
Frankly, I like Allow Me to Be Frank.
I think
because
Allow Me to Be Frank is Frank Fleming's old podcast.
Famously, white men are very marginalized in what they're allowed to do.
Allow
in the
me,
United
please.
States. Please let me be. Yes, if there's anyone who cannot be themselves in this country, it's white men.
Yeah.
Shout out Frank. We're wishing you the best, pal. Stay strong.
You can get through this.
Yeah, we believe. What's going on with Thatcher Demko? Because
great question.
Before game 2, we got day to day. After game 2, we got, week to week. Probably not this series. And now Sarah Siv reporting yesterday, hey, if I'm a DFSing lady, I would not DFS on Thatcher Demko to play at all this postseason. To which I say, hell yeah, sister. Preds in 5. But, oh, man, if the Canucks are without Thatcher Demko, are they toast?
I wouldn't say that they're toast like immediately. Again, Casey DeSmith wasn't the problem last time out. I think you're obviously in a worse spot. That Thatcher Demko has been really important for that team this year, and you never like to see anybody go down with a serious injury, especially this time of year. Like that's got to be insanely frustrating to be the guy all year long, and then kind of to have things go sideways and downhill. But the interesting part here is the conflicting reports. Yeah, like he went from day to day to week to now, like maybe not alive. But he traveled with the team to Nashville, which if he's presumed out for the remainder of the series at a minimum, which that seems like the energy right now, why is he traveling with the team to Nashville? Is it like a moral support kind of thing? What's your read on that?
Yeah, I think that it's probably more emotional, moral support or whatever it is, isn't something that's going to be aggravated by being in the air. Because a lot of times they don't travel just because like traveling can take a lot out of you. And if you got certain things, it's going to be made worse by changing altitudes and the air pressure and all that bullshit that we all have to deal with when the plane goes up in the air. I think it's something that's not going to be bothered by that. And if him being there helps, sure. Nathan Horton went to Vancouver. Sure as shit was not playing in that game 7.
Yeah, but he was there to dump water on the ice.
He made a mockery of the ice.
That's right.
You know there was piss in that.
He pissed in the bottle?
No.
That would be a scoop.
That would be, what a scoop.
Bigger scoop. Sarah Siv saying Demko out for the playoffs, or DJ revealing that Nathan Horton pissed in the water bottle that it dropped in 2011.
That's something I would have tweeted in 2011 when there was like 10 people on Twitter.
And not everything was taken so seriously.
I don't think quote tweets were around
You would get
yet.
fired if you tweeted that now.
I would have done, I would have to do a manual retweet, but I would have done, before an RT at whatever the video was, I would have said, in that water bottle, ? It's piss.
I miss the days of the manual RT when you could like literally change the original tweets.
Oh, I did that so much.
Did that so much. That has been ruined, probably for the better.
I was gonna say
probably for the better, but man, that was a fun time.
There wasn't good, what would it be, like quality control there, or what? There were no safeguards. There's a pretty obvious safeguard that needed to exist that for just like years did not. They're like, you don't like someone? Say that they said whatever you want.
These are like the same era of like Snapchat where you could take screenshots without people knowing.
Yeah,
like
true.
the old social media when it first came around was
Wild West.
unhinged.
Yeah. Worth pointing out, Elliot Friedman sort of lightly refuted Sarah Siv's report, saying that would surprise me if he had been ruled out for the playoffs.
So, but that's all right. I think that's Elliot, though.
That's Elliot being super careful.
That's Elliot cleaning up the language because Sarah didn't say that he was ruled out for the playoffs.
She said hearing that he's been ruled out for the playoffs.
She said, I think that she said,
done, I believe.
I'm hearing he will not play this postseason. Out for the play. I don't know if the word ruled out was used. I could be wrong. Find the manual retweet.
I think she said hearing that Sarah Siv is done, or hearing that Thatcher Demko is done for the playoffs.
Yeah, so that's just cleaning up the language because you could be done without the team saying, okay, we know you're not playing.
I'm hearing that Thatcher Demko is done for the rest of the playoffs.
Yeah. So that's Elliot cleaning up the language and saying, I don't think they have ruled him out for the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't think they would do that yet at this point anyway. So I don't want to say like Sarah's right and how dare you disagree. Like, would you be surprised if after it went from day to day to week, if they were like, yes, this is something that's worse than we initially thought?
I mean, anytime the goalposts are moved like that, kind of on the fly, it's not a
Keep
good
moving,
sign.
baby.
And it's especially not a good sign when the Canucks just aren't sure that they're not getting out of the first round.
And Thatcher Demko was awesome this season. Tied for third in the NHL in save percentage with a .918 clip, I believe. You said the Casey DeSmith has not been the problem. No.
He hasn't had a chance to be the problem yet. Really?
Yeah. I mean, and Vancouver has largely outplayed Nashville in this series, but Nashville's been able to hang, and
that's going to
win.
happen.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the nature of the way that Nashville plays. They're not going to outplay Vancouver. They're going to withstand Vancouver, and then they're going to take advantage of the openings that they get.
Yeah.
That's the MO.
I picked Vancouver in the series, so I can't. I'm sorry. I picked Nashville in the series. I don't feel so much better about it now, but I feel better about it.
You should feel better about it. Speaking of Elliott on injuries, he said yesterday in a column or a report or whatever you want to call it, William Nylander dealing with a migraine that's been so severe that he was checked for a concussion. Said, according to multiple sources, Nylander's absence from Toronto's lineup has to do with a migraine so severe the team doctors tested to see if he suffered a concussion. One of the reasons for the secrecy around the situation is that an actual diagnosis has been hard to come by, whether it's a migraine, a concussion, or something else that could affect that area. So that explains, at least to some degree, why William Nylander has not played in the first 3 games of this series.
Man, and that's fucking tough because I'm sure that he's going out of his mind that he skated, did the morning skate, did line rushes, hung out, stayed on the ice after, which usually means you're probably going to be scratched. And Sheldon Keefe was talking about him like he was probably going to play the other day. So I don't know if this is setbacks. It just seems like they don't know what it actually is. So fuck, what's going to change between 2 days ago and today if you still haven't even figured out what this thing is?
Yeah, it's like, it kind of reminds me a little bit of like the Jack Edwards thing, where it's like something is going on and it's sort of out of your control and you're just hoping that it gets better. And Nylander has dealt with concussion stuff and migraine stuff dating back to 2022, switched to a tinted visor in 2022, played all 82 games this regular season. So to get hit with this now and to have to deal with it now, like Demko, I feel so bad for guys like mentally to have to go through that shit at the most important time of year.
Yeah. Migraine is surrounded by a daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre and probiotics, and more. I just take 1 scoop of it, toss it in water, guzzle it down. AG1. Migraine. I don't know if there's grains.
There's
in
no
AG1.
grain in AG1. I don't think that's the
Do you
case.
think you could harvest stuff with AG1? No?
Harvest
Yeah.
stuff?
No, probably not.
I don't
think
know
you can
what
like.
that means.
You mean like grow stuff? Like plant it in the ground?
I think you
That's the opposite of
We're
harvesting.
saying this outside of an ad read.
Yes,
so
that's
we're
the
just
opposite
speculating?
of harvesting. They're not listening to this part of the show. We're good.
Right. Do you think that if you planted AG1, anything comes up? There's so much shit in there.
I don't think
Something's
so.
got to sprout.
No, and also like the reaction to the Nylander stuff to some degree was a bit predictable and nasty. And anytime it comes down to migraines, there's always the people that are like, "Oh, somebody's got a headache," and like that's not what a fucking migraine is.
I've seen people reacting to the reaction. Maybe you know what? Actually, I wasn't on Twitter yesterday. I turned off my phone and everything for the NFL draft. By the time I got back on, people were very mad and offended by the conversation around migraines. And this is coming from somebody who just turned migraine discussion into an AG1 read. Migraines, as someone who does not fucking get them, like top 5 luckiest things about me is that I don't get migraines. Because if you've ever been with someone who has migraines or been around people who have migraines, like that is fucking debilitating.
Yeah.
So
I
the
can't
idea of like, oh, he's got a little boo-boo. No.
I can't help but think of Percy Harvin, who had his entire career derailed by migraines. I think it was Pajal Slati in the chat earlier made the point that like migraine gets tossed around so often as just a synonym for headache.
Yes.
And so a lot of people, it reminds me a lot of like service dogs, where it's just like a lot of people have like emotional support dogs, and
That's true.
they
They
don't
water it
behave
down
properly, and then people don't know how to react to actual service dogs. They think it's like all one and the same. And it's not. Like, it's pretty debilitating thing.
Migraines need a rebrand.
Yeah.
Yeah, so should we get it? Well, it's like the Norris thing. Like, do we change the name of that, or do we add a second thing? Should migraines be the one that people consider debilitating, horrible, or has that so been synonymous with people discussing headaches?
We need a new term.
I think you have to remove the word migraine from like the lexicon. You have to say, okay, we're not saying migraine anymore. And you got to
Rebrand
give it a
everything.
new name, and it's got to be way more like intimidating, or it's got to have more bite to it.
I think you could also just use actual migraine. He's dealing with an actual migraine, not the fucking
People
thing.
could just also not be assholes and just
That's-
not say you have a migraine.
Well,
if you don't
Yeah,
have a
right.
migraine.
If somebody says that they're dealing with something to the point they're unable to do their job, doesn't that tell you enough about how serious it is?
Yeah.
Even like if you have a knee injury, if it's bad enough that you can't play, it's fucking bad enough that you can't play. You don't say, like, well, what is it? Is it a tear? Is it a sprain? Is it whatever? They're not able to play as a result of it. And we've made every fucking William Nylander joke in the book this season, but you're going to put a guy out who doesn't know what's going on with his head? That's not some fucking 2024 woke lib talk. That is common sense for if you're a hockey team in the playoffs, you can't afford to have someone out there who is putting themselves in danger and is going to leave you with 11 forwards 5 minutes into the game.
And this is beside the point, but also a guy that you just made a long-term investment in for 8 years beyond this season. Like, you have to take care of William Nylander. Nylander has to take care of himself. And you're also talking about a guy who played in all 82 games. The only Leafs player that played in all 82 games this season. He's not missing time this time of year just to fucking miss time or to be a baby. He's going through some shit.
Yeah, and we already know what a Leafs player being a baby looks like. Watch game 82 of the regular season. Awesome.
Or watch whatever the Ridley Gregg one.
Yeah, I was going to say Morgan Riley. Yeah,
A lot of examples. A lot of examples.
We need to do like, can we come up with like a hashtag for William Nylander that like we're standing with him? Like Nylander strong.
Nylander
We're with
strong.
Willie.
We are Nylander strong. And then like he comes back, he does something bitchy on the ice or whatever. And we're like, he's our guy. Sorry. Oh no, you're saying we bail?
Yeah, we're out.
This is bad behavior. He is not hashtag Nylander strong.
Hashtag Nylander week.
Do you know that it is New Music Friday?
No.
It's kind of New Music Friday, I guess. I saw this on the Oilers Reddit page, and I did not listen to it, but the Oilers play La Bamba at Rogers Place when they win games. It's a big celebration. It's usually right as ESPN Plus is cutting away from the broadcast.
Before we move on from that, I got to ask you, what do you think of the Oilers goal song? I see a lot of people making fun of it.
What even
It's
is
the one
it?
that's just like, oh. Like, I don't know. It's just a bunch of O's.
I don't know if I've ever heard it
Oh,
because
you
I am
definitely have.
immediately
They
racing to
pump-
my computer
They pump
to
that shit.
make my own song and Gene things.
No, you got to know that. Like,
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
They pump it. Hold on, I'm gonna play it.
Yeah, so it's so nondescript that it hasn't even registered with me. I know the disco beat. That's all. I could have told you it's got that.
I've seen people say like they have the worst goal song in the league, and I disagree. Like the crowd gets fucking amped for that
Anything
shit.
that
It's such a
has-
good energy.
I'm such a sucker for like giant, like masses of people being in sync on things.
Oh yeah,
And like stuff like that where you got like it's the same thing with the Bruins
You're
or
a
the
unison
Ole.
boy?
Yeah, like I just like
that
depending on context, of
like
course.
that turns the arena into a fucking rockin' party.
I believe it's called, according to a brief Reddit research, Fluxland.
Fluxland.
I do know that
someone responded.
they have one of the better horns because I have listened to every horn in the NHL when our friends Dan and John were making the intro music for this show. They asked, maybe would you like a horn incorporated? And if so, tell us which one. So I've listened to every horn in the NHL and I have a list somewhere on my computer. The Oilers have one of the better goal horns. I think the Red Wings also was up there, and maybe the Jets had a good one. None of that vacuum sounding shit.
Mhm.
That's a good one. But as we all know, they play La Bamba when the Oilers win, and it's become a long-time favorite of a lot of people, including a young Oilers fan, Ben Stelter, who died from cancer in August 2022, 2 months after his 6th birthday. So this song is in the fabric of the Oilers. Oilers anthem singer and tenor Robert Clark and soprano Helen Haysinger. It's pretty cool. She's a singer, and that's in her name.
Haysinger?
Yeah, kind of like Joe Alt has LT, left tackle, in his name. Dog. They perform the song.
ALT.
What's that?
He is ALT.
Yes, he is actually a LT. But they did these two, and it's with the Edmonton Opera, La Bamba, with special Oilers-themed playoff lyrics. Neither of us have seen this or heard this. Play it, Sean. And you know what? Yeah, keep our mics up in case we need any commentary. Let's go. Producer tag win.
Great production value already.
We will be playing La Bamba. 16 wins with La Bamba is necessary.
Tom
Oilers
Segura?
Nation
Nice.
is ready. Oilers Nation is ready. With Skinny and Ned Leon's one
A lot of ready
time
talk.
horrific. And don't forget Hyman. He's parked in front. He's parked in front.
That's right in the asshole.
You know the Oilers are ready.
They're ready.
David is ready. Your
Ready.
Okay.
son, your Capitan.
Whoa.
Cool.
We will be playing La Bamba. 16 wins with La Bamba with Knobloch coaching.
And coffee beside him.
Time to ride the cane train. All aboard, we're standing high.
I don't think everybody's all aboard the Kane train, knowing what we know about the Oilers.
And Evander Kane.
Yeah.
Okay, Busha Bamba, by far the best part of that.
Lyrics, I would say A minus.
I agree.
Production, A. That was a solid production. Great cinematography, good performances. Made a
So-
whole show of it.
I'll say, you don't want to hear this. This is more, Sean and I like discussing this off the pod. I wouldn't say great vocal performances there. First of all, the man, they should have done it in a different key. It was kind of awkward for him. Doesn't sit well in the mix anyway. And then when she goes an octave up, she went 2 octaves higher than him. She went fucking crazy.
Definitely.
Sounded like 2 people freaking out.
Chad hates it.
Unexpected opera singing, which I guess I should have expected it because it was done with the opera. But unexpected opera singing is always going to throw me off.
I thought that was perfectly chaotic for the Oilers.
Yeah,
I
someone
love
in the
production.
chat says that fucking sucks. Someone says oof, and then another person said the chat is wrong. This rules. I don't know where I fall on it. I do know for sure every time Evan Bouchard scores from now on, I'm posting the Busha Bamba thing, and I'm adding. I don't know if you've noticed this. I've been adding a fake dancing Daniel Plainview into videos. There's a video.
Very good.
Gene did a commercial
Yep.
where people are dancing around him. It's just fucking Gene in full sex bomb mode, and I do a reverse forward back kind of dance with Daniel Plainview. I think old Danny Boy is going to find his way into the Busha Bamba talk.
That begs the question, though. Do we get to check off team adopts playoff anthem on our bingo cards?
Oh.
It's kind of a gray
The
area
team
because
hasn't adopted it, though, I feel like.
the team definitely adopted it. The team
Someone said opera jump scare.
opera jump scare. That's amazing.
Nick.
I don't if we see the Oilers tweet out the opera La Bamba, I think that it's official that they've adopted a playoff anthem.
Oh, speaking of music and things that we have to hear all the time, I tweeted this last night, but I'd like to explain it quickly. The SGA Chet Holmgren commercial
Awful.
with What a Pro Wants, we all agree is fucking horrible.
That is the
I mean-
new Tara Tara, look at her go.
I
But
don't-
Tara Tara, Look at Her Go was good.
Yeah,
Maybe
it
I'm
was
sick
just
of it.
annoying. Yeah.
I don't. What's wrong with it?
What do you
I'll
mean?
tell you what's wrong with it.
I don't care about any of the
They
music
play it every
stuff.
5 seconds. It's once you've seen it one time, it is not funny anymore. And
That's most commercials. Like it's two young NBA players singing "What a Girl Wants." Like that is
poorly.
Yeah.
No, so
they're not supposed to be good.
It makes it sound like they're singing it poorly, and it's not their fault. In the video, whoever edited it, I guarantee you, looks like me and Pete, because it is off by a beat. "What a Girl Wants" by Christina Aguilera goes, "What a girl wants." When she says "wants," that's the one. So it should go, "What a pro wants, what a pro needs." They have it a beat early, so they go, "What a pro wants, what a pro need." And when they do that, the "whatever makes me happy and sets you free" part sounds like they're just singing it out of time. They're not. They're doing it right, and a fucking child put that commercial together.
Well,
it's so bad for 100 reasons. Number one is, like, it's unlistenable.
Now, the question needs to be asked: is that done on purpose? Was it fucked up post on purpose to make it as annoying as possible to the viewer to make them take notice of the ad
Here's
and
a question.
complain about it?
What is the ad for?
AT&T.
I couldn't have told you that.
I couldn't have either, but it's good behavior on their part if you can get a AT&T out of you.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Well, but I think
it forced
the fact
me.
that we don't know it is more important than that.
No, but like the only reason that I know is because I was forced to recognize what that ad was for because I disliked it so much. I didn't like pick it up naturally. I was like, I hate this so much. Who makes this commercial? And it's AT&T.
I don't understand the hate for it. It's like it's not supposed to be good, like musically in any way, shape, or form. Not supposed to be good. So, like that is.
I'm just so sick of seeing it.
It's just.
Funny, I hate it.
Funny guys. And listen,
we make better commercials.
Yeah.
I was like, what? What are you talking about? But yeah, we do.
The ESPN one.
Yeah.
Of course.
Listen, I'm an ad man.
Sean's defending this.
I'm an ad man at heart. I have an advertising degree. I was going to work at advertising agency.
So Sean goes to bat
you're doing some
crazy.
fucking all ads matter shit. Like
no, I just like the point of it. Like the point of it is to showcase two NBA players singing a song that you would not associate with two young men singing, and it's like goofy. If you're watching it so much that it becomes repetitive, like you don't like it because of how much you've seen it. That's a completely different conversation.
I watched it for the first time and I was like, oh, that's kind of cute. Good for those guys. They're willing
Mission
to put themselves out there.
That's all they're.
But then, like the next 4,000 times I have to see, I'm like, I fucking cannot stand this commercial anymore.
I hate that commercial more than anything. And you mentioned Tara Tara, look at her go. That was fine. And even when it got annoying, it went right to like Deliria.
Yeah, right. It was like it immediately went from like annoying to meme.
Yeah, right. Like, oh my, like I'm still fucking seeing this. It was almost funny. The Wendy's commercials that they've hammered us with the last 3 years, always good. I've never tired of one of them. I love that crew.
Those are ones that I don't like.
What?
We've talked about this before. It's just such a clear ripoff of Flow and the progressive people.
You're gonna get so mad at me. What grades did you get in these ad classes?
I was great at it.
Yeah, I bet you did. You're a good student. How are you? I think you're seeing this wrong, but you know more about ads than I do.
I mean, well, yeah. The point of the ads is never to be like good. They're all done with like a very specific goal, and oftentimes it is not just to make an entertaining ad. So there's that. But like, yeah, like I just said, I think that when I watch those AT&T things, or when I watch the Wendy's things, I'm just like, that's Jamie from the
Nah, man, they built a world. They built a Wendy's world, and I want to live in it.
That kid is so magic, and if you don't think that kid is magic, you're just missing something that I feel bad.
He is Jamie from the progressive commercials. They're the same. They're skinny, awkward white boys whose whole point is to be made fun of. That's the entire
got something, Sean. It's
just like Jamie does.
He's got something.
An important part of like this whole discussion is that there are commercials that just become synonymous with playoff runs because playoff runs hammer the same commercials 100%. The entire way through. For like years, it was Tara Tara, look at her go. Then you had the Scoop, there it is, one playoff run. We never knew how good we fucking had it.
2 thumbs way up.
That incredible. I could watch that every commercial break for the rest of my life, and I would never get sick of it.
I mean, listen, I famously like the Antonellis and their cheese shop.
Oh, fuck them.
They are
Fuck
just
them.
like
Your enemy?
a terrorist organization. Like bona fide, federally recognized terrorist organization. We're the Antonellis, and
We're
we make
anonymous.
cheese. Go fuck you, fuck your entire heritage and your dumb fucking cheese. I'm done.
I
with it.
hate the Antonelli's cheese shop.
I don't fuck the cheese shop. I hate the Antonellis. Their entire family. I don't like them. They ruined it for me. And now the Hacienda guy from the Capital One commercials drive me crazy. I think it's really
the Capital One guy?
No, just
we
like
do banking differently.
No, just
That guy
the
is a
general like we're the
weatherman.
Antonellis. Like those commercials are like I'm not, my name's whatever, and I'm the Hacienda dude. I don't remember. I even know what he makes. He makes tequila or flour or something. I don't know. I just don't like those.
It's so wild to me that you're passionately against bad commercials and are on board with the SGA commercial.
I don't think it's a
Crazy to
bad
me.
commercial. Like first, like all the music reasons that you have for not liking it don't apply to 99% of the people that are watching it. Like that isn't going to register.
But it
with
can
most people.
subconsciously, they
That's fair.
can say, they'd be like, that sounds bad.
That's
They
fair.
don't know why, but it's an easy fix that could have been made.
But I that never registered with me, and I think like people think it sounds bad because it does sound bad. Like that's again the point of it. They're supposed to be awkward and bad singers. That's what makes it endearing.
Somebody said Geico mastered advertisements in the early 2010s. So easy caveman could do it. That was way before the 2010s, right? Geico's been fucking
Yeah, it was like
crushing
late
the ad
the
game
caveman
for-
commercial, the caveman TV show, I believe, started in like 2009.
I mean Geico.
I forgot they
Geico,
had
I
a
So they've
believe.
been like
TV
years
show.
into
Yeah.
it.
I don't know. I think Geico, if I remember correctly, like there's very few, if any, companies that spend more money on advertising in North America than Geico.
Shows
Well,
like
they're the best. They're the best
fucking-
ad company in the
absolutely.
world.
They fucking destroy it. I mean, they have arguably one of the most iconic brand mascots in all of North America.
And they were killing it before they even introduced the fucking gecko.
Yeah, and then like the caveman commercial is awesome. The fucking guess what day it is?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's iconic.
P Night did an episode of Brunch where we
Even
were
the hockey
discussing
one, the
if
fucking
you could
walrus.
intern
Oh, yeah.
anywhere, if you could intern anywhere, where would it be? And I looked up like who makes Geico's ads, and I was like, that place. That would
That
fucking
ad
rock.
agency has to be incredible. Like
I
their
Can't tell
brainstorming
you who it
sessions.
is off the- listen. I have said this before. I had an opportunity to work at the largest creative advertising agency in the world.
And instead, you came here.
And instead, I came here, and
Good
I
behavior.
regret it every day. But listen. Advertising was very much my life for a little bit, and I am very defensive of the people in the ad industry that are making ads for big time companies because I know that I know what goes into it, and I also will say,
You know, the
oftentimes-
Islanders are trying hard too.
yeah,
You don't have to
The
give them
Capitals
credit.
are busting their asses.
I will say, oftentimes it is the brand itself watering down very good ideas from creatives. So blame the brand, not the ad.
That's how it
agency.
always works when creatives work with bosses, though.
Yeah,
I
true.
hate
It's engineers and architects.
Chat's talking about the Liberty Mutual ads. I hate the Liberty Mutual
No,
ads.
what?
No,
I-
those are-
Emu is
Limu
fucking
Emu
awesome.
sucks. They
It's-
try so hard to be funny and they're not. They try so hard to be Geico.
No.
Their ads
No.
stink.
That's-
The best thing that Liberty Mutual has done in terms of their advertising campaign is inspiring the Shane Gillis Liberty Mutual SNL skit.
Liberty Bibberty. That guy's
That
fucking
guy
cool.
sucks.
That guy's cool.
I love
Liberty
that. I
Bibbidi.
love the fucking emu. I love the
I mean,
commercial.
they're effective, but they're bad
The
ads.
commercial with the baby emu and baby cop where they drove off in the little
Mhm.
baby car. Like I love Limu Emu, and it's also
Ugh.
like his name being Limu, fucking awesome. It's Liberty Mutual, and he's an emu. Like it's awesome. I love that.
I didn't even know that.
They
I
definitely,
don't know where that
they,
came
I mean,
from.
they definitely worked backwards. They said
well, yeah, they were like
said L-I.
MO.
MO.
It's an Limu.
How do what sounds
Emu.
like
sounds
this?
like an emu. Yeah.
Emu.
No, that definitely worked backwards. On
Yeah.
that, yeah.
It's really good. I like it a lot. I'll tell you what. There are
Understand.
some good ads out there, and that SGA one ain't one of them, baby.
Ambassador Degree's making a good point. The 15% of our listeners who are from Canada probably have no idea what
So
the fuck
lost.
is going on.
That's one of my favorite.
Well, I want to be watching fucking Louis and Jack, but I don't get to. So you get
Yeah.
to watch an actual better product.
That's one of my favorite recurring. I don't know if they do it anymore, but for years, Sean Gentili and Down Goes Brown, Sean McIndoe,
Mhm.
would talk about their country's most annoying ad during the playoffs, and they would tell each other about it, and it would go in a column on The Athletic like every year. That was very, very fun to see people in Canada find out about the worst American ad and vice versa.
The worst part is is during the regular season, which I'm sure you know this with the Bruins. I knew it very well with the Coyotes. When you're watching 82 games on one channel and you get the local commercials that repeat all the time.
No, I love that shit. I love the local commercials. Gives you a nice little flavor for the market.
Getting cultured.
Yeah.
I think it was Gila River Casinos in Arizona. They always had commercials during the Coyotes games, and it always had the Pitbull, I don't know about you, but I feel good. And we heard that 5 times a night, 82 times a year.
That's part of the culture.
It became like an inside joke, but the commercial itself was just bad.
Is that with the Kaylee Cuoco? Right? Is that her name?
Kaylee
From
Cuoco
the Big
from
Bang Theory?
Yeah.
What about her?
She's in that?
No.
Oh,
It's just like a local commercial.
Oh, what's
It's got to be like a big like
She has a
GM
vodka
or
commercial.
something.
She did like one of the TripAdvisor type commercials.
No, somebody did.
William Shatner.
With William Shatner.
Yeah,
she did
was
those
like her
commercials.
dad or something.
Yeah.
He was her dad or
That
something.
song, I believe, was used in a commercial where she's like at a party, grabs a bottle, and then begins to dance at the party.
I could see
And
that
I'm like,
because that's basically what this commercial
This woman's drunk. She's holding a fucking bottle of vodka.
I hate casino
Get her off the
commercials.
dance floor.
It was just a bunch of people like dressed in ways that people don't actually dress, eating things that they can't actually eat, like a gold-plated ice cream cone. And it's just like, what are you selling to me here?
Somebody in the chat asked why we are not mentioning the Whopper commercial. It's
Iconic.
old, and it's Sean, I'll send it to you. But people in the chat who have not seen it, I have a full, very informative, researched explanation as to why that is so catchy. Go on YouTube, probably search "Why is the Whopper song so catchy?" and it's good.
Does it have anything to
Chad's
do
talking
with
about the
bad
Sullivan
singing?
Tire guy.
What's that?
Does it have anything to do with the bad singing? Like or not bad, but like monotone?
It's mostly that it is a familiar melody that is sung over a reharmonized chord progression, because that song has been used, I want to say, since 1977. And so that's why I made the video. Is like, we've heard this song for years and years and years and years. Why is this one hitting so hard? And I really I put like hours of work into this.
Fucking love those commercials.
They're great. It's only $2.99. It's a hunger hack, and it
BK.
fits in your hand.
Have it your way.
Food that fits in your hand. What
You
will they think of
rule.
next? It fits in there. What did you say, Pete?
Chad's talking about the Sullivan Tire guy as like part of the New England culture. That guy, I think I said this on a text in the group. I can't believe that guy's still around. I was a child growing up watching the Red Sox, and that guy looked old back then.
Over my head.
And
I don't know what.
Yeah, so Sullivan Tire has like the guy who, I think it's the guy who owns it. He does commercials with like little kids and like the local athletes, and they
Come
put
into
like
Sullivan Tire.
they put like these goofy commercials on.
Okay.
He's been doing it forever. He is about 140 years old now, and he's still doing the same shit
Respect.
with like Charlie Coyle now. It is wild that he's still kicking and still doing
Respect.
it. But absolutely.
For my people from upstate New York and I guess Long Island, they'll know the Billy Fusillo. Huge. There's that. And also in Arizona, they did a commercial with Luis Gonzalez for a car dealership. And it was that like the dealership owner and this legendary D-backs player playing catch in the bullpen. And it would start off, it'd be like, Gonzo, your Diamondbacks are playing pretty well, which was awesome because they started the season as one of the hottest teams in baseball. In the middle of, I think it was in June or July, the Arizona Diamondbacks became the worst team in all of baseball. And every single game, they're running this commercial where it's like, hey, Gonzo, your team's looking pretty good. And meanwhile, Diamondbacks fans were like, we're going
to kill you.
We're going to find you. Like, this is the worst. Please stop running this commercial. And they just ran it all season. It was
Someone
awesome.
in the chat says, DJs, I know more about music than you. Videos are very good. Thank you.
They
Subscribe
are
to
very
the DJ YouTube channel. The line that I do for it is I send it to Pete before I post and say, do you understand 70% of this?
Because I can't stand being engaged in the DJ knows more than everybody about music conversations, most of them. But like when it's but I think that you
Pete doesn't like being in smart conversations.
I just no, because it all goes so far over my head, which is why you text me with those videos to say, can you consume this?
Right. Like, and because like Pete's no dummy when it comes to like the world. So I don't want to come off as like a I'm not like a music teacher or anything.
Yeah,
like
I
that,
think there's
so-
a lot of people. I think it's the same with sports too, where there's a lot of people who are like, I don't even want to understand this. I'm just having fun.
But my thing is like, I wish that people talked about music the way that they talked about sports. That like, if you do say like, hey, that's a nice route that person ran, fucking say the person ran a nice route. You're not gonna, unless you got Cam Newton being like, you shouldn't be talking about routes. Just if you notice something that you like, talk about it.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. The one that I am always shocked, and by always, I just learned this 1 minute ago, I always assumed was local, but is not. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly.
You've heard
Banger
that
of a
ever?
jam.
Auto parts.
Ow! Yeah. That's
Banger.
a fucking
That's an
amazing
incredible
one.
jingle.
Yeah.
Did you think that
Sucker
was
for a good
local?
jingle.
I didn't.
I can see why you would think it is. It's
It
like
looks-
a very Irish thing, and it's not a very high budget type
Its
of deal.
branding is so
Yeah.
bootlegs
Yeah.
that I assumed fucking somebody in Southie put it together.
Maybe that's an intentional
Yes,
decision.
make it feel like it's
Like,
local to everybody.
Yeah. I think we have another update on New Music Friday.
Yeah, somebody says music is subjective, Deej. Not if you're explaining something that's going on. You can just talk about facts.
The enjoyment of music is subjective.
Yes, some people just don't understand
What's
that
good.
they
Taylor
shouldn't be
Swift is
enjoying
popular.
it. What's
I
that?
said Taylor Swift is popular. Of course, it's subjective.
The Canucks also have a playoff type anthem, and I think we have that. So
Yes, we
let's
do.
do the same thing as we did with the Oilers. We can listen and chime in, and then we can decide if we've had enough.
Completely different vibe.
Oh yeah.
For games. That's right.
No, they are not locked in.
Yeah, they were like, they gave me big Scar energy. Scar would often sing about being prepared.
Yeah, that's right.
He wanted people to be prepared. And they've seen enough Oilers games. They're like, you know what? Come out strong. Score the first goal. All right.
That'll do for a Friday episode. Well, that was a fucking long Friday episode.
I know.
Huh?
Did you could still hear us,
I don't
right?
know, that's what I'm trying to figure
We're
out.
not.
I think you can now.
Hello? You guys
Oh,
got us?
people-
Are you silent or silenced?
I don't know. It's showing
Chat
that
says
we
they
got.
could tell that I was saying something
we got
interesting.
love.
We only get audio for 90 minutes, and then YouTube cuts us off.
I don't blame them. They think that we're doing a bit. I don't blame them for that. But
I guess we're silent. So what a
Yeah.
time to wrap up.
I was going to say people should Brad Marchand us and lip read and
Yeah,
be
it's
like,
true.
they said this.
Oh, all right.
We got
great.
audio back.
All right, then turn us back off. All done. Bye.
See you Monday.
We all silly like the mayor.